I love the versatility of these 3x3 tents. Welcome to the Hippie Geeks. Let's unbox the Spider Farmer 3-foot by 3-foot grow tent, get it set up, and see what we think about it. I have to say, this is the most beat-up package that UPS has ever managed to deliver that is actually still in one piece, and it looks like someone has been kicking it all of the way from the mainland to here. Fortunately, even with all of the damage to the box, it looks like the only casualty is the sticker sheet, as it appears that the hole you see on the flap went all the way through to the stickers, and now I am convinced that UPS kicked it at least several times. Luckily, it looks like everything else is in one piece though, so we will still be able to assemble this one and check it out. First up, we need to get all of the poles out of their bag, and Spider Farmer is using 1/2-inch metal poles for everything, including the supports. This size pole has always been strong enough to hold everything in the tent up without any issues, and that includes the time that we decided to store all of our rabbit supplies up there, and all of that food and hay was not light. When you are looking at the bars, you will see that 8 of them do not have any holes in them, and those 8 are the ones that you will use to assemble the top and the bottom of the tent. The other 8 will be able to be attached together to form the uprights, but we will look at that more closely later. Once you have all of the poles out of their bags though, you can then remove all 8 of the corner pieces from their bag, as we will need them next. As these corners are all plastic, it doesn't matter which way you have them set up, as it is the same from every angle, which is nice. All you do is pick out 4 of the bars with no holes in them and slide them into the corner pieces, then tighten down the screw-on collar that will lock the bar into place. Continue that all the way around the 4 sides of the bottom and make sure you have all of the corners tightened up once it is all together. After that, you can grab the bottom pieces of the uprights and get them inserted into the corners as well. It doesn't really matter which piece you start with, as they will both only connect to the other half of that particular upright. Once all of those have been put in place, tighten down their collars as well, and then move on to the next section. Now we are going to insert the other half of each upright on top of the ones that we have already done, and then just leave them floating in space for the next step, which will be assembling the top square. Much like when we assembled the bottom square, just get your 4 corners in place and connect them together with the last 4 poles that the tent came with. Once you have everything in place, make sure to tighten down all of the collars everywhere so that the framework holds together while you are doing the next step of putting the fabric on the tent itself. Once the fabric is on there, everything will be stuck together for good, but as long as you have everything tightened down at this point, you will be good to go. So, when putting the fabric of the tent onto the framework with this particular tent, you are going to want to start by pulling the top section of the tent over the top of the framework, as doing it the other way is not going to be nearly as easy. The pocket in the top of the tent that is formed by the door is considerably deeper than the one on the bottom, so you want to make sure to put the top on when there is slack in the assembly. You can tell which piece is the top, as it will have 2 holes in it for vents, and as you can see there, the Spider Farmer logo is on the top as well. Once you have it pulled down nice and snug all around the top, it is time to go ahead and pull the bottom square of the tent underneath the framework and get it set into place. As with any tent assembly, just take your time and make sure to not force anything. If you have everything lined up right, it should slide together really easily. Once you have the bottom of the tent in place, grab the zipper on the back side of the tent and zip it around the back and side of the tent until it gets to the front where the door is, and that part of the assembly is finished up. At this point, I am going to pull the door back and hook it into place on the side so that it can stay open while I check out the rest of the tent's features. Looking inside the tent around the bottom, you can see that it has the 3 rectangular intake ports that have Velcro covers on the outside that you can remove. In the back of the tent, there is a 4-inch hole to run your cables into the tent, and on the right and left side in the front of the tent, there is a 6-inch port as well. Looking across the middle of the tent, you can see that there is a door along the back on each side, which is going to be really nice to have when you need to access the backside of a plant to clean it up. I honestly wish that every tent had these doors, as they just make life a lot easier in the long run. Looking around the top of the tent, there is a lot going on. On the back wall, you have a single 4-inch port. On the left and right side, there is a 6-inch port. And then on the top of the tent, there are 2 8-inch ports. There is a lot of flexibility up here in how you can route things, and I love to see all of these options. Next up, I need to add in the bottom tray, and it looks like Spider Farmer may have changed these a bit since the last time we looked at one of their tents. The corners of this tray are very nicely done and look like they will have a much lower chance of leaking if you have a lot of water get into the tray on accident. After that, it is time to get the top support bars installed, and it comes with 2 bars, one to go each direction. With the port setup that they have in this tent, that makes a lot of sense, as the 8-inch ports on the top take up a lot of room, and the bars will fit around them nicely. Looking out at the front door, they also have a little access window that you can use, and the Velcro around the edges will hold it in place when you want to look in there, or let some extra airflow in. Finally, the last thing to check out is the hanging pouch that the tent comes with. You can hang it a couple of different ways, and if you do it with the black side facing out, you will have an easier time getting things in and out of the pouches. However, if you hang it the other way, the reflective side will be facing inwards to help with light reflection, and you can still get into the pouch pretty easily as well. Well, Spider Farmer has put out another well-built tent that will carry you through an entire grow without breaking the bank. Their tents are always super affordable, and we have run a ton of grows through them with no issues. I love how lightweight they are to move around, while still being strong enough to hold up any equipment that you can squeeze into a tent this size. If you want to check out the Spider Farmer 3-foot by 3-foot grow tent or any of their other gear for yourself, make sure to click on the link to their website in the video description down below and use the discount code GEEKS at checkout to get 8% off your entire order.